Before I get started, I'm using some foam core to make a mock-up of the metal cutting shears. This is just to give me an idea of what sort of sizes I need for each part. I'm not sure how much use I'd get out of these shears, but I think they're a pretty handy tool to have around in most workshops, and I've always fancied having a crack at making them. I'm not sure how well they'll work or how they'll turn out, but I'm going to give it a go and we'll find out. These are the pieces for the main body, and the top two pieces need welding together to make this part, and this part here is that one there. It needs bringing forward the same as this, and I'll do that by using this shorter piece, and we'll weld that and bring it forward. It needs bringing forward to accommodate the thickness of two pieces of blade. So I'm going to use this 1075 steel for the blade, and the main reason for that is the blade is quite wide, and this is what I have at hand, so I think it will do the job. I was thinking about using a couple of old files, but with the file not being wide enough, I'd have to bolt that to another piece of steel, and that would work, but the only problem there is it's starting to get quite thick. Before I weld up the body, I'll work on the blades and get those finished. I've got an exciting new tool in the workshop. I've bought myself a belt grinder. I've wanted one for a long time, and this project will give me a chance to try it out and test out all the different attachments and configurations. I'm trying the belt grinder out here in the horizontal position. I'm a bit fingers and thumbs at the moment, but I'm sure it will become second nature with more use. You may notice it wobbling a little, but that's because I haven't bolted the stand down to the concrete floor yet. I wanted to use it in this position and make sure it's exactly where I want it before I fix it down properly. Now that I've finished shaping the top blade, I'll cut out the lower blade. Next I need to flatten the two blades. This grinder actually has a surface grinder attachment available. I don't have it, but it looks a really cool bit of kit and maybe something for the future, but for now I'll just have to manage without. I'm not sure this is correct, but I'm going to put a slight bevel on the top blade and keep the edge on the bottom blade at 90 degrees. It's starting to come together, and I thought I'd quickly show you what stage I'm at. I've got the blade pivoting on the body here. I've made these brackets to control this end. Next thing I need to do is make a bracket that pivots on the body up here, and that connects to this bolt, and it connects to the handle, which will come up this way. So next thing I need to do is drill this hole and then make the bracket. That should work. Now I need to transfer it onto this bit of steel here and make the bracket. Next I'm going to fix the bottom blade to the bottom part of the body, and then I can start welding the body together. Next I'm going to weld the body together. I've already prepped a couple of the welds there. I'm using this piece to join the top to the bottom, and then this piece also creates a gap there, and that's how the sheet metal passes through. But I've made a bit of an error in laying it out and cutting the pieces. I was going to weld this piece like so, and if I did that, then the sheet metal would come through and it hit the end of there. So that doesn't work. That has got to be welded flush with the top of this piece. So I'm going to do that. But because of that, then I lose my gap that was created there. But to fix that, I've got a piece of flat bar that I'm going to weld in place there. I've set this up to support the two pieces and keep them in just the right place while I'm welding them. It does need to be fairly accurate, and hopefully it works. So these pieces of wood I've got here are the same thickness as the two pieces of blade. I might actually put a piece of card there as well. I'd rather have it a little bit wider than not wide enough, because I can always shim the back of the lower blade. So the first thing I need to do, I'll just put that on there, is trim this piece down here, and then I can weld them together. One of the feet and a small strip of steel are positioned to support the blade, so I'm not relying entirely on the 3 screws to hold the blade in place. For the handle, I'm using this piece of 16mm bar. I'll be able to put a pipe over it and extend it for more leverage if needed. I'm grinding a slot into it before I weld it onto the top bracket. It could be bolted together now and I could use it, but first of all I want to add a couple of features. It needs a return spring and it also needs an adjustable foot to hold the workpiece down. I recently bought a whole bunch of these cheap clamps for $10, so I'm going to sacrifice one for this project. I need to find a permanent home for it, but for now I'll just clamp it to the workbench and let's give it a go. I'll start with some thin galvanised sheet and see how it goes. Ooh, that's nice. That's fantastic. Now I need to see if it'll cut anything thicker. Now I'll try this strapping. It's about twice as thick as that sheeting. It's just over 1 millimetre thick. Next I've got a 2.5mm piece of steel, so let's see how that goes. It takes a little bit more effort, but it does it, and it leaves it nice and clean too. And this one here is 3mm thick. It took more effort, but it did it, so I think 3mm is probably its limit. Although I only ground a 2-degree bevel on this top blade, I think a more aggressive bevel could actually cut a little bit thicker, possibly. Lastly, I'll try this piece of aluminium. It's only 3mm thick because that's the thickest I have. I just wanted to show you the foot, and the foot's there just to keep the workpiece down if needed. So that's how it works. Push it through a bit. And it can be kept up there out the way for most of the use, I would say. I really enjoyed that project. It turned out fantastic. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.